Hello and welcome along to this section of the GG.CO.UK Cheltenham Festival preview. In this segment, we've been asked quite a few questions from people on Twitter regarding the Cheltenham Festival. So we're all going to have a muck in and have a little go on these.
Kev, can I just any girls after Andrew's number?
No? No, not yet.
No?
Well, I've only seen the top three, so
okay.
I need to. We'll scroll down along. A lot of these questions are new to me
Fingers
as well.
crossed, St Andrew.
Yeah.
Live and hope, Sam.
So the first question is from Sam. We don't know if Sam is male or female.
It says from you.
She didn't ask for Mounty's number.
We still don't know, do we?
Okay, with the Irish dominating at the festival last year, do we think the British trainers will close the gap this year, or will the Irish continue to dominate? I know how you feel about this. You think the Irish are just nailed on?
The Presbury Cup is going back over to the Irish, across the Irish Sea.
You believe so?
Mm-hmm.
So not even the fact that Paul Nicholls now has some serious ammunition. Nicky Henderson, he's amassed some nice favourites, the likes of Champ in there, you know.
Yeah.
Still,
have a look through the markets. There's still, I mean, even De Bromhead, got presenting Percy, Pat Kelly.
Yeah.
You've got all the Mullins horses. They're 2 and 3 handed in most races. Gordon Elliott. It's just an absolute.
I can remember when the Irish had one winner. I think that was Doran's Pride winning the Stayers Hurdle.
Yeah,
showing my age there.
It's turned around quite a bit.
Now,
I think 4 to 6 is a fair price for them to win it.
So I'm of the opposite view. I actually think the British might peel it back a bit this year.
Any evens, Kev?
I think there might
fiver.
There might be a bit of odds against.
I'm going for the tie. I'm going for the tie at 7 to 1.
I'm not going to lay you even money, but I'm not doing that. Okay, so I think we're kind of split on that a little bit. It just remains to be seen, doesn't it? Okay, next question from Sam. Do we think there's any value in the top trainer, top jockey markets? Personally, I don't have any strong opinions. Sam has a bit of a flyer, though.
Well, I just quite like Rachel Blackmore in the top jockeys. I think she's sort of 100 to 1 in a place, 66 and 50 in other places. She's obviously going to ride all the Henry de Bromhead horses, pretty much. Some of the overspill Elliott horses, perhaps, certainly the Gigginstown. And she's just got a decent book of rides. Honeysuckle, Monolly would probably be the pick. The 2 horses that are pretty strongly fancied. Then you've got like Balka de Flo or Newer or Paloma Blue. Paloma Blue probably ridden by Brian Cooper, I suppose. But she just is bound to have some quite live chances in some of the handicaps, and I think it's quite an even spread this year. I mean, it's sort of a 3 to 1 the field market, so Ruby doesn't look to be dominant, Barry doesn't look to be dominant, Jack Kennedy doesn't necessarily, so I just thought I'd take a bit of a chance with her at 66 and 50.
That might not be a bad shout. We'll just touch on equine flu, because Sam has also asked about that. Do we think this equine flu situation could
a lot of questions, Sam,
could affect?
It's been busy, haven't they?
Yeah, most of the people only sent one question in, but we will touch on equine flu because, I've noticed one yard in particular in recent days, Philip Hobbs. I mean, he's had so many short price horses just fall out the back of the telly. He trained Sambura Suja to win the other day, but apart from that, a lot of his horses have been really
related, or is that in general being
we're talking about clouds over yards and clouds over horses, and do we think is anything to worry about with the festival?
I think it can change very quickly. I mean, 1 or 2 people felt the Skelton Yard were going through a bit of a quiet period, and then he goes and bangs in 3 winners at Uttoxeter. So it can change very quickly. I'd be wary of making any hard and fast rules 2 weeks to go before the festival.
Bear in mind as well that trainers are keeping their big guns back for the spring festivals, not just Cheltenham, but Aintree and Punchestown as well. Now, most years there's one of the the so-called big guns, the Hendersons, the Nicholls, whose form is questionable going to the festival. It's generally just a case of, we haven't been running our best horses because we haven't had opportunities for them. They're all being prepped for the spring festival. So, that we're running our lesser lights at the moment. So, don't get too carried away with trainer form going into the festival.
Okay, let's forget about equine flu and trainer form.
Please.
Let's move on to what Mark asked us. How many ante-post bets do you place in the run-up to the meeting, or is the majority of betting done on the day?
You sure this is Mark and not Sam just using another name?
At mjordan7772.
That's definitely Mark.
So that's Mark. Anti-post bets, I don't like to back shorties anti-post. I've just got no interest in it.
Pointless.
For anti-post bets, I'm looking in the 16 to as high as you can go range, really, for anti-post bets. I've got the likes of Verdana Blue in my book, Spirit of the Games at a big price. Road to Respect, another one. How do you guys generally feel about anti-post betting? Do you have any positions that you want to talk about?
I don't anymore. Last year I got involved, perhaps when the handicap weights came out. But again, it was information from preview nights where I knew that horse X is going for this race. And,
Inside information.
Just things I'd heard. And, if a trainer goes to a preview night and says, I'm definitely running in this particular handicap and it's 16 to 1, then you might beat the price. Like with King Sox, who was 20s into 7s before finishing 5th. But again, that was an anti-post each-way punt that went south because it was 4 places anti-post. On the day, I could have got 5 quite easily and saved my money. So with all the concessions you get on the day of the racing now,
might be better off to wait.
It's often best to wait.
I think the best time to have an anti-post bet is probably in this run in now.
After the weights come out.
After the weights have come out. And also, if you can see that something like the the Arkle or the Champion Chase is going to cut up to less than 8 runners, and you can get a thief in each way bet now with 3 places at a better price, and the race might fall apart. Okay, you're going to struggle to back the winner of the Champion Chase, perhaps with Altior in it, but certainly something like the Arkle, that might be a 6 or 7 horse field this year. You just don't know. You can get yourself into quite a good position now if you're clever.
On the each way side of things. Okay, let's move on to David's question at dtweeting101. With Sam Crow and Kilbricken-Storm both heading for the Stayers Hurdle, will we see one of last season's Grade 1 festival winning novices win the big one? Sam Crow or Kilbricken-Storm for the Stayers?
Well, the other Grade 1 winning hurdler in the race is Black Op, isn't it?
Black Op, yeah, that was from Aintree, yeah.
I don't think I'm not convinced Sam Crow's going to run.
No, Kilbricken-Storm. He apparently worked the house down the other day, but I don't know. The jury's out.
Probably
on that
not.
one.
I think.
Probably not. David,
we have discussed the Stayers Hurdle in quite a lot of detail, and we were all pretty keen on Paisley Park and West Approach for the 1-2. So maybe
that's your nap of the meeting.
Maybe Sam Crow finished 3rd.
Okay, Magdalena of Ascot fame. Asks us a question. Does anybody fancy Mike Bites come back to form, especially after the wind up? We mentioned it earlier. If he does come back to the form after the wind up, he'll run a nice race in the Gold Cup, won't he? So,
yeah, we touched on this earlier on. Henderson, 12 winners from 30 with his runners after a wind up, 40% strike rate. So at 14 to 1, you could take the chance. And it's a kind of bet that if you fancy somebody else in the Gold Cup, it might be worth just throwing a couple of quid at Mike Bite in the just in case bracket, not wanting to lose if he looms up and bounces back to form.
Can you have him?
Yes, I can have him because he ran in one of the best speed figure races of all last season's jumps behind Native River last year, despite the ground being totally against him. He might just bounce back this spring. You just don't know. This weather might help him. The wind up might help him. He's obviously been a classy workhorse at home in his past, and if he's shown those signs again, 14, 16 to 1 for a horse that travels well and has been around the track. Big price.
He was my banker at a meeting last year. If he wins it, I'll cry a little bit. I will.
Well, just back him then.
No, I can't. Well, I might, maybe.
Why can't you back a horse at 14, 16 to 1? They're not asking you to take 6 to 4.
I mean,
I'm going to give you a $5 to put on him.
Okay.
I'll double that.
Okay.
I don't want to see you in tears, Kev.
A charity tenner on Mike Bite for Kev then. Let's move on to Aaron's question. Okay, this is pretty simple. Battle of the Mares, Lorena or Apple's Jade?
Apple's Jade.
At the prices, I'd rather take a chance that Lorena is something special and we just haven't seen what she's capable of against the boys yet.
Okay, I think Verdana Blue is going to murder both of them. Okay, we'll move on to Jack's question. Does Clan des Obeaux lack of Cheltenham form put you off his chances in the Gold Cup? You mentioned this earlier. I mean,
he doesn't lack Cheltenham form. He lacks winning Cheltenham form.
When he was a young and immature horse, in fairness.
He's finished second in the fields of 14. And,
second to Whisper. Placed in it was either a Bet Victor or one of those big handicaps where he made heavy weather of it a little bit, to be honest. But I wouldn't write him off just because I prefer him on a flat track. I've got to be honest. I think that configuration suits him really well because he's a strong traveller. Yeah. And they tend to go more of an all-out gallop on those sort of races, and he comes through and cruises through and looks very happy on a flat track. There is a little bit of a question mark, and the price has gone, hasn't it?
The price has gone, yeah.
But I don't think the track is necessarily
wouldn't put me off, especially where he's trained. I mean,
but if he drifted to 7, 8 to 1 on the day, he'd be one of the last off the bridle, wouldn't he?
He's yet to go beyond 2.5 miles at Cheltenham, and he's often run well in defeat over shorter trips, like Sam says, when he was an immature horse. Yeah. Not the horse he is now.
If he's coming down the hill and there's a bit of cut in the ground and Native River's bombing and jumping, who would you fancy up the hill? Clan des Obeaux or Native River?
Q-Card.
Okay, so that's Clan des Obeaux. I don't think we're terribly worried about his lack of Cheltenham form.